Hello, ladies and gentlemen, it's me, Sonic the Hedgehog here, back again for another video for you guys. And today, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for another episode of Sonic Reviews. Yep, time for me to take another review for you guys here for the channel. And today, ladies and gentlemen, today's review is going to be on none other than the 2016 film adaptation of Disney's hit classic film, The Jungle Book. Yep. Today we are going to be taking a dive right on into the jungles, as we're going to take a look at this film adaptation of Disney's hit classic film from the past. So with this said, today we are going to be looking at its acting, its animation, its music, and its overall story. So with this said, we're gonna get things started with its story. So with this said, let's get started with his story. The story. Alrighty guys, this story. Well, the story of this film follows none other than a young boy named Mowgli who was raised by a family of wolves since birth, when he must suddenly leave the only home he's ever known when the fearsome tiger known as Shere Khan unleashes his mighty roar against him and his fellow jungle mates. Now guided by a no-nonsense panther and a free-spirited bear, the young boy meets an array of jungle animals along the way, and Mowgli learns along the way that he learns pretty much some valuable lessons along the way as his epic journey of self-discovery leads down a road of fun, adventures, and none other than learning the bare necessities of life. Haha, a little nod reference to the old classic film. Naturally enough, this film over here, because obviously enough, spoiler alert, that song is in this film. Barely. But anywho's, guys, you might ask yourself, Sonic, what are your thoughts on this film? Obviously, what's your thoughts on the film story? Well, to sum it up, guys, and not to really give too much away to you guys, the story of this film pretty much follows the soul. Okay, guys, let me say this right here. The story of this film is pretty much just like the 1967 classic, but if you take the soul of what made that film what it was and how good it was, and pretty much take it for what it is and added some fresh new story elements to it to make it stand on its own, you would pretty much get this film right here. Because this film, man, like I said before, while I'm not going to give too much away of it, there is some stuff in this film that definitely has better explanation and better suits itself for a story, flesh out story here compared to the classic 1967 film, which, yeah, even itself, pretty much hardcore Disney fans can say and stuff, that movie, yeah, really hasn't aged very well. It really isn't that memorable, to say at least, for either of Disney's films. I mean, seriously, a Beatles reference, yeah, that's kind of dated, and yeah, Mowgli was didn't have much of personality back then. You know, just overall, that film itself definitely seemed kind of dated in the past, and definitely needed the fresh new story elements that this film brings to get a fresh new coat of paint and make it pretty much, like I said, stand on its own and actually make its own film, way past cool. So, to pretty much sum it up, guys, this film, like I said before, takes the soul of what made that film great back in the past and pretty much added some new sprinkles of fresh new story elements in the mix to make the film stand on its own, to make it a way past cool film for everyone to watch, both young and old, to see this film, both compare it as a film on its own, while also looking back on the old past film and looking at it as a comparison. So with this said, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to give this film, none other, a score of its story, a 10 out of 10. Please, for this film, like I said before, I'm not going to give any spoilers away, but if you have not seen this film, please check it out for its story. It has some really cool story elements in it that will just blow you away. Because, oh my gosh. But still, guys, yeah, so a 10 out of 10 for its story. So big old thumbs up for its story. But next, we are going to move on to its acting. So with this said, let's get some acting done. Haha. So let's go with the acting. Haha. The acting. Alrighty guys, the acting. The acting of this film. Man oh man oh man, do we have a pretty star-line cast of characters on this film. With none other than Bill Murray taking the role of Baloo, Ben Kingsley taking the role of Bagheera, Idris Elba taking the voice of Shere Khan, and a newcomer to the film, I'm sorry if I can't really pronounce his name, but the newcomer to the film with the young boy taking the role of Mowgli. With so many other characters such along the way, with the likes of Christopher Walken voicing King Louie, and Scarlett Johansson, yes, you heard me right, Scarlett Johansson taking the role of the Winnie the Pooh inspired voice actor of Caw, the snake. Yeah, you never would have thought you would see that coming for Scarlett Johansson. Oh yeah, first up, she's Black Widow in the Avengers. Next, she's freaking Motoko Kusanagi and Ghost in the Shell. Next up, and wait, actually, no, reverse that. She was Caw, then Motoko. So reverse that. No. Anyways, all jokes aside. I had to throw that anime reference in there, obviously enough, because obviously that's who she was, obviously, because she was in Ghost in the Shell, because duh. Okay, blah. Never random, Sonic. Stop being random. Anyways, back to point at hand with the acting. Anyways, pretty much to sum it up, guys. To get back on off that random tangent I had about Scarlett Johansson being, Motoko and all that crap. Well, the acting of this film, man, guys, bruh, man. These guys and actresses, these actors and actresses really bring their A game to this film. I mean, seriously, the actor who plays Mowgli, the newcomer of this film starring as Mowgli, some people have been split down the middle. Either you like the guy, or you just didn't find his performance to be you didn't find his performance being, spot on and really good, or you found his performance to be at best. Me personally, I found his performance to be spot on and excellent. He brought so much personality to Mowgli's character that I just fell in love with his performance. Just such great emotion, such great personality, such great actions through both body language and physical, and just you can just see how the character felt going through such events through the story. Well, like I said, I'm not going to get spoiling in it. I'm not going to throw out spoilers, but you just see how this character grows and feels and develops throughout this event's story. Just great acting by this kid. The first time started for a role for this kid. Big thumbs up for the kid, and he's definitely going places in Hollywood, to say the least. Hands down, this kid's going places. And obviously enough, Bill Murray brings us excellent sway kind of, slide cat type of personality, new personality to Baloo compared to the, laid back personality from the original. He brings both something new and something old at the same time to Baloo's character to flesh out his character in a way. So Bill Murray rocks it as Baloo. Ben Kingsley definitely brings that tough, father-like, no nonsense. Oh, Mowgli, you don't want to do this. Don't do that. Don't do this. You should do this. You shouldn't do that. That's just dumb. Why are you following Baloo's orders? Oh, just come back to the man village. Go to the man village. Your wolf father didn't tell you this thing and blah 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 blah. He brought such great talent to that film. Ben Kingsley did to Bagheera's role that you just believe in every single moment that he brought to the film. Just such great acting. And obviously enough, like I said, speaking of which, and that's not talking about the side characters. The side characters brought such great, emotional roles as well. Speaking of which, Mowgli's mother wolf, the wolf mother of Mowgli, girl, you officially rocked your role. Such great passion and such great emotion into your role. With the other kid actors, voicing Mowgli's younger brothers or side sisters. I don't think they're sisters, but mostly brothers of the wolf pack. Such great kid actors as well. They brought such great talent and such emotional development to the characters as well. I mean, obviously enough, but bringing it back to the other side characters such as Christopher Walken as King Louie, man, Christopher Walken is just Christopher Walken. If you love Christopher Walken's, sly, kind of, sarcastic, kind of like, monotone type thing, this is for you, obviously enough, because what would you not expect from Christopher Walken's, acting skills? And Scarlett Johansson, well, she was in this film. I was expecting more out of her, but that's just to be said, guys. She was just in this film for a very limited time, but what she did and what she did with Claw, she performed really well. I mean, Scarlett Johansson is usually known for her acting skills, for having that particular type of emotional, development in her characters, and she just rocks the character of Ka. Granted, it was kind of awkward, kind of seeing Ka as a girl, and kind of, knowing Ka so well as being, the Winnie the Pooh type, voice actor, which I was going to say Jim Cummings before coming on camera, but yet again, Jim Cummings is more recent and more, not so old. But yeah, what I'm talking about, the more retro first style of Winnie the Pooh. We're so used to seeing Ka being, Winnie the Pooh and not Scarlett Johansson. but the way she did it, then she just rocked it, man. Just all these actors in this film pretty much rock their roles to the core, and I just can't stress it enough, guys. The acting in this film definitely rocked it. Every single actor and actress pretty much brought their A game to this film, and I just can't stress it enough, guys. The acting of this film gives a big old thumbs up to me, and gives it none other than a solid 10 out of 10. So with this said and done, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to move on next to the next subject, and the third subject being the music. So with this said, let's jump into some music. Haha! The music! Alrighty, guys, now it's time for our third subject as come to us for the music. So, with this said, what do I think about the music, you might ask? Well, to say enough, guys, I have to say this. It has such great background music that gives some scenes in this film some big time atmosphere, with some of them actually giving us some Lion King vibes. And actually, stay tuned to that. Stay tuned to that last previous segment, because obviously enough, we'll get on to that. We'll get on to that pretty much couple of statements. We'll get on to that in a second. But with that said, with some of the atmospherical music in the background giving such great moments of atmospherical feeling for some of the scenes in this film, the actual in film music, with the actual actors singing and actual characters singing the songs of this film, they were sung, while they were good, they weren't really on par as the original film. Just like I said before, I spoiled it. I somewhat spoiled it, but it's coming. The bare necessities, it was coming anyway. That song, it's good. It's just Baloo and Mowgli, starting their friendship. They're floating along the river and singing, having a good time and stuff. But it just doesn't really bring such it just doesn't seem it doesn't seem such musical and kind of bring such joyful vibes as the original. Nothing seems uptight and such in a good dancing kind of jolly mood than the original. But when it comes to this one, and it's kind of understandable, considering the tone and atmosphere in the film, giving off that time during these songs in this film, it's completely understandable why they decided to go with this way of the tone of music, with the way of the songs, just like Bare Necessities and I Want to Be Like You and stuff like that. It's kind of understandable why the songs kind of had this sort of tone compared to the original. The originals kind of had the uptight feel versus this one's just kind of had their own thing going for it, I guess. But like I said, while I had some slight, minimum nitpicks about it, but, it's kind of understandable. I get why they had it with it. But with this said and done, ladies and gentlemen, while I said before, the music of this film, while kind of the actual vocals, songs by the characters kind of seem off par, the actual background atmospherical, big-time feel music brings this film's score to an all-time level of gloriness, which none other gives it my score of none other than an 8 out of 10. So with this said, we are going to move on to the final subject of the film, and it's the acting, not the acting, my bad, the animation slash visuals. And with this said, this is what I like to call it, the make it or break it time for the film. So with this said, we will be right back as we are going to show you guys my thoughts on the animation slash visuals. So with this said, let's go! Ha-ha! The animation slash visuals. 'Cause why the heck not? Here's Sonic! Wow, that was pretty random. Okay. Anyways, guys, now that we're back after that random voice announcer was trying to announcing this part of the segment of the video, we are now here to talk to our very, very final segment of this review, which is covering none other than the animation slash the visuals of the film. So with this said, let's get this thing started, shall we? Okay, so you might ask yourself, Sonic, what did you think of the visual slash animation of this film, since you said it before, this is the make it or break it time for the film. So with this said, what I have to say about it is that while this film, you know, it had, you know, the animation slash visuals of this film, you know, as starters, it was, you know, it was pretty good, you know, it had, you know, firstly, you know, getting started with it, you know, it had to have, you know, it had to get used to, you had to get used to some of the visuals of this film, with some of the CGI going on in the mix, and you know what? You know, before, you know, after a while, you know, you're seeing, as you're getting settled in and stuff like that, you know, as you take your seat, you know what's going on, you know some of the characters, you know what's going on with this film story, as the story's kicking off, you know, you get settled with it all. So, but, you know, after, you know, when you get settled in, I still, you know, couldn't notice some of the flaws in the animation. Sure, guys, don't get me wrong, the animation and the visuals of this film is gorgeous, man. It's gorgeous, man. Such photorealistic animals and such photorealistic, you know, backgrounds and surroundings of this film. Boy, oh boy, oh boy, just don't get me wrong, you know, glorious animation, glorious visuals, just glorious everything. Just don't get me wrong, guys, don't get me wrong. But, you know, some of the times, you know, the CGI seemed kind of off at points, you know, when there's like, you know, when the animals sort of kind of like move or kind of like jump like slowly at points, they kind of were like, you know, they kind of seem not real, and like, you know, you can tell it didn't have that realistic vibe to you, you know, just kind of, you know, it kind of nodded down kind of for bits, you know, but you know what, those were moments during the, you know, like I said, those were the moments near the beginning of the film that kind of gave this film its starting boost, and as you're getting started with the film. So after a while, you obviously said, like I said before, you get used to the animation, you get used to the visuals, and you're just buckled in for the ride throughout the film is going to give you. So while the stuff I said before might just be nitpicks, they are still worth mentioning. So with this said, the animation of this film, while having some minor nitpicks from me personally, the animation of this film and visuals of this film stand out way past coolly and just bring such a glorious spirit to the film, while I just give it overall just a big old thumbs up, as I give it none other than an 8.5 out of 10. So with this said, you are going to see now my overall thoughts on the film. So with this said, we are going to get that started. So with this said, my overall thoughts on this film, my final thoughts closing out this video. Well guys, obviously enough, this film has a great story to follow, great acting by its cast, and some pretty good music and visuals to roll alongside it all the way. To pretty much sum it all off, to make it a way past cool film, both for young viewers and older viewers to watch it as a whole, both watching it as a standalone film and looking at it as a comparison from the 1967 film to this version of the film. So, and with this said and done, you might ask yourself, now we're going to jump on to the actual promised thing of this film. My actual topic of ending, kind of mini topic of the review, jumping off this review. And considering of the 2019 live action film of The Lion King. So as of right now, as I said right here, right now, Jon Favreau, the director slash producer of both this film and The Lion King has promised for it to be an improvement over this film, and just wants nothing but this film to shine like the original did back in 1994. So, and by all means, guys, this film, definitely gives vibes of what what Favreau has on his shoulders, and I just wish, as we said before, back on a previous episode of the Silver Show before, we have strong hopes for this live-action Lion King film to come up from Jon Favreau. All our love and support of the film are, at full hands to see what happens, to see what Jon Favreau has in store for us, and just overall, we just can't wait to see what happens in this film, and how it's going to look, and how it's going to feel with its new cast. Some of the cast, some of the cast, most of the cast is old. With some of the cast, which I'm thinking the only cast member they brought back is James Earl Jones being Mufasa, with everyone else being replacements. So most of the cast is pretty much 98% of the cast is pretty much pretty much new and refreshed of cast members of The Lion King. So, like I said before, all hands are on deck to see what Favreau has for The Lion King to come up. Considering this film is an improvement over this film to come up for The Lion King, this film, The Jungle Book, definitely sees what Favreau has in mind for The Lion King to come, and hopefully enough, we will hopefully see big old thumbs up for Favreau's next project to come for The Lion King. So, with said and done, ladies and gentlemen, you might ask yourself, now with that kind of subject out of the way for The Lion King out of the way, you might ask yourself, Sonic, what is your total and overall score of this film to close out this video? Well, guys, this film, in my old heart of being as a Disney fan, and I was enough looking for this film as a critic in general, adding all, pretty much looking at the scores, considering all the 10s and 8s and 8.5 combined, I have considered this film to be none other than a 9 out of 10. So with this said, ladies and gentlemen, this film overall was a blast to watch. It had some great visuals, some great background music, such a great story with some brilliant and phenomenal acting to go alongside it all the way. So with this said, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you guys for watching this episode of Sonic Reviews, and I hope you guys enjoyed it for what it was worth, and we shall see you guys next week for the very, very holiday that we give our thanks for Thanksgiving 2017. So with this said, what will come for that special Sonic show? What will come? Because obviously enough, it's going to be another episode of the Sonic show. So what will come? What surprises will come for that episode of the Sonic show? You will have to find out when we get there next week on the Sonic show episode 112. So with the said, ladies and gentlemen, I am Sonic the Hedgehog, and we will see you guys then for another episode of the Sonic show. With this said, I'm Sonic the Hedgehog, and we'll see you guys then. Ha ha!